against the winner of this match.
And one of our last hopes for some non-island decks in the semifinals.
Take a look at the sideboards here. We already talked about Richey's. We'll look at Alec Mays here. As it looks like he's going to be on the play for game number 3. Domestication, a Rift, 2 Dispel, 2 Dissolve, 3 Gainsay, 2 Negate, 2 copies of Polymorphous Jest, and then 2 Jason Memory Adept. Jest is very popular in this top 8.
Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of it, and really its debut, from what I've seen in the Open Series.
Yes. There was a rumored blowout. Dylan Donegan apparently, when his opponent played a Golgari Charm for -1/-1, Dylan cast a Polymorphous Jest to make everything a 1/1. Yeah, that was a thing that did happen. So maybe we'll see that here.
That is nasty.
It's a bit of a beating. Bit of a beating. So we'll see what happens. That's for sure. And Alec May will be on the play this game. Richard Richey looked like he was able to even things up in game number 2. And Richey does have access to the 3 Mistcutter Hydras. I expect to see the Doomblade come in, the Golgari Charm, 2 copies of Putrefy. Putrefy, not the most efficient removal spell, but
Master Waves, Public Enemy number 1.
Yep.
And it's on curve with Nightveil Spectre, which is another potentially annoying card as well.
And that's what's important. You can kill those, heavy devotion providers or their payoff cards. Can't kill Thassa, of course, but few things can.
And in this matchup, Richard kind of needs to take a mono black devotion kind of position to the games and just try to kill everything. He can clean up the game, however, after the fact, for the most part, but falls behind on the board, it gets really rough. So all the removal, even the removal that isn't the most efficient, still does a lot of good work for him.
Game 3 underway in just a moment. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I like this matchup a lot. There's a lot of play to it. These are usually fun games to watch.
It's definitely back and forth.
Yeah.
It can definitely be back and forth.
Both players playing around a lot of cards at various points.
Now, we've talked about Joe Lissette quite a bit this weekend, and he ended up X2-1 yesterday in the standard portion. Why do we talk about him so much? Of course, it's the Season 3 leaderboard. He's got 147 Open Series points right now. That does not include the total that he was able to gain yesterday. It looks like a top 32 finish happened for Joe yesterday. But you see the lead there, 13 points, 13 points over Alex Bertoncini at this moment. He's obviously gained a few points yesterday. He's going to gain some points today, but there's a chance for a lot of points to be gained.
Yeah, and this is his last shot, really, as he's already confirmed that he's not going to Syracuse or DC. So, barring some IQs in Southern California, this Open today is his best chance to make up a lot of points and stretch out the lead, which is going to be required. It looks like a lot of points on the surface, and it is, but with 2 Opens to go, Alex, Gerard, and Ken Ketter, if he's willing to travel, they definitely have an opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, we expect to see a lot of those non-Lissette names in Syracuse next week and in DC 3 weeks from now. So Alec going to take a look at his opening hand. And 7. He's got a lot of spells over there. You saw the Rift and the Rapid Hybridization. There's also a Nightveil Spectre. And will they keep? That's the big question.
Looks like a slower hand.
Yep. He will begin. No 1-drop, just an island. Richey with the Temple of Malice. It's time to scry.
Looks like Richard does have a Forest and a Sylvan Caryatid for next turn, and that's the kind of opening he needs.
In this matchup, yeah. Especially when you're on the draw, you do want to accelerate quite a bit.
Richard contemplated that one for a while before letting it go.
Well, longer scries. There's an island. Does he have a turn 2 play? No. Ugh, this is a slow one. It's reactive too, and that's not a spot that I love to be in if I'm Alec here.
Yeah, if you give jump monsters all the time in the world, they're definitely going to overpower you.
Yeah.
Just have more expensive cards and more impactful spells.
And the 3rd land's immutable, so it's not even an island for Nightveil Spectre. Now, Thassa's certainly big, though. If you're not going to do anything until turn 3, you might as well play arguably the best card in the deck on turn 3.
Yeah, especially since Richard probably has some sort of removal spell at the ready. It's really rough to play a Night Veil into the face of, a Putrefied or Abrupt Decay. Get something stable into play.
Domri's going to tick up. Sylvan Caryatid going to be added to the grip. There's a Forest. Looks like a Mystic as well. And there that is.
And now Richard's mana is online.
Absolutely.
In quantity and quality.
So it's time to see what Alec May can put together on the 4th turn of the game. Of course, there will be some scrying that does take place here with Thassa. So a draw. Mutavault is what he's found. He's going to play that as his 4th land. Again, can't play Night Veil Spectre. Can't play the Cloudfin Raptor that's over there. And again, he does have some reactive cards, but it's not great. And there's the Raptor. See what the follow-up's going to be. You see a backup Thassa over there? That's not great. We know about the Rift. We know about the Rapid. And I think the other card is just simply the Night Veil Spectre we've been speaking of. So this is not a great hand.
May just send one of his Mutavaults over a Domri.
I don't hate that. Starts to contain the Planeswalker a little bit. Yeah, it's going to go active. Yeah, we're going in. Down to 2 goes the Planeswalker. So now if you're Richey, it's time to play a big spell. You've done a lot of setup. You got a Domri out there. Now it's time to actually get to try to win this game. I think that's the big key right now.
Yes, capitalize on Alex's slow start here. Still need to be careful about rapid hybridization. Don't want to lose too much tempo.
Of course. There's only a certain range of cards you have to play around, and of course the players do have each other's deck lists, so they know these things. Domri's going to tick up here, so we'll see what Richey can find. And the answer is not a creature, so he puts it back. There's a Mutavault. And there's a Pulachronos. 2 mana. That is another Caryatid and just passing the turn back. So now Pulachronos can defend Mutavault. Or excuse me, can defend Domri. And we'll see what else does happen here in just a little bit.
It's tough because at this point, a 3/3 is almost as good as a 5/5 on this board.
Yeah.
So Alec can go ahead and rapid hybridization the Pulachronos and move on. But he may have to try to engineer the game where he blows out Pulachronos in response to a monster's activation. He may need to extract that much value out of this rapid hybridization.
Yeah, this is true.
When Mono Blue Devotion isn't out on the front foot, it doesn't really have any tempo or pressure going, these kind of exchanges they are not as powerful as they are when the deck's attacking.
Huh. This I did not see coming. Rapid hybridization on the Cloudfin Raptor. Taking away his own devotion.
Well, this allows him to make the Frog Lizard unblockable to take out Domri.
Okay.
He gets that line this turn, but I don't know what the follow-up is exactly.
Yeah, how is that good for the how is that good for the long term? That's the question. There's an island. We could see a turn here, Tidebinder Mage, tap your Pulachronos, make my Frog Lizard unblockable, kill your Domri, which is not a bad turn of events.
Yeah, but then the problem with all this is everything breaks down if Richard has a removal spell in his hand.
Yeah, make that unblockable, kick it back.
So I'm not exactly sure what the game plan is here. I mean, Alex does have a Cyclonic Rift in his hand. He can bounce something, but he doesn't have enough momentum in play to really take advantage of cards like Rapid Hybridization and Cyclonic Rift in this fashion.
Oh, this is a bunch of mana. Dragon, maybe? Okay.
Sure, just put him to the test. I mean, he's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah, I like just getting, hyper aggressive here is definitely not bad.
You got an opponent down to 3 cards in their hand, not much of a board. They have some tricks, but they can't harm you that much. They're not going to blow you out in combat or anything. So just go ahead and haul off.
Sure. There's a Rift.
Okay, cool. We'll do the same thing next turn. I'll still have my Storm Breath in play.
See if there will be a follow-up play of those Manic Summons that are left over. And the answer is no. So May's going to scry. Take a look at the top card here. Again, the hand right now is Spectre and Thassa.
And the tough part is, Alex really needs to keep some blue mana up on his turn to keep up the impression that something's going on. Because otherwise, if he taps out a blue, Richard just gets to go untap and confidently go, okay, I'll Abrupt Decay your creature, or I'll Putrefy your creature. So Alex can't even fully develop his board at this point because he needs to leave up mana to at least have Richard try to play around something.
It's been a decidedly awkward draw for Alec this game.
Well, the rapid hybridization on his own creature instead of the Polukranos forced him down this road.
Yeah.
He did get the Domri off the table, which was important. But now he's forced to answer this Polukranos turn after turn, or just allowed to go monstrous, which is not, it's not clear that's something he can beat.
Yeah, the number of answers to a card like Polukranos from mono blue is very low.
Yeah.
They have a finite number of ways to kill that thing, or at least to interact with that thing, and 2 are already gone in Rift and Rapid Hybridization. Rift, of course, not a permanent solution, but you can mess up Monstrosity. And Rapid Hybridization, not the best solution, but it is a solution, and that's all that matters.
And this is the sequence I'm talking about now. Alex is out of blue mana, so Richard can do whatever he wants on his turn without fearing anything.
It just passes. You see Mutavolt's not going to attack. You saw the Frog Lizard get in. Thassa isn't on yet. He's kind of at the mercy of what Richey can do this turn. Again, we know one of the options is Polukranos. We'll see what the follow-ups will be.
And Richard can do everything knowing that it is uncontested.
Looks like there might be a Mortars hanging out there. Not too sure. Mortars isn't great. It's certainly fine.
This doesn't seem like a bad spot for Mortars. Again, Alex's shields are down. That's the most important thing. You don't have to play against any counter spells.
This is an easy place to start. Let's get in for 4. You don't have any good blocks.
Yeah,
Alex on 12.
If Alex is willing to chump, then you do something else on your turn. You
can
recast your Polukranos or what have you.
So there's the World Eater. And I actually could see an argument for just or just not even overloading Mortars, just regular casting it, but just take care of Nightfell Spectre and load the Devotion count. But this is certainly fine as well. You do have the ability to monstrous Polukranos if necessary.
Do you like that sequence better than just overloading Mortars? If
I like getting to the board still. Your life total's so high. You're not in a rush to cast removal. You can certainly walk him into a larger Museum Mortars at this point, I think, as well, because your life is so high. So he needs to continue committing things to the board.
It just seems like there's a possibility for the game slipping away from you if Alex is somehow able to get a 5th Devotion in play and then, say, counter your Mortars. Now all of a sudden there's a game. Just leaving it with, you have Storm Breath in play, he has Thassa and no board, and you still have Polukranos left over. Seems like it's really hard to lose. But I also buy your argument. You're not under any pressure to do anything specific right now.
Yeah. Your hand isn't forced to do really anything right now. You can just keep committing large threats to the table. There's the Judge's Familiar. Also, how scared of a counterspell are you? There's another thing, too.
Well, how realistic is it to be in Alex's deck? Not really at this point, but how do you go about losing this game? It probably involves that. So it's at least worth considering.
Okay, having it on the radar.
Yeah. Like from this board state, it feels very much like if Alex is able to counter the mortars somehow, Richard could easily lose.
That I agree with.
That's the concern that I have. Whereas if you leave him with just Thassa and a couple of Mutavaults in play versus your Storm Breath, your own Mutavaults, Pelucranos in hand, it does seem really tough to lose.
Thassa's on via Judge's Familiar, and everything's coming into the red zone now. So this is an attack for 10. And Richey's definitely got some options. Interesting turn. A lot of back and forth in this matchup.
Yeah, there's a lot of play to it. A lot of tricks that both players have to play around. A lot of blowout cards on each side. Cyclonic Rift, Rapid Hybridization, Master of Waves, Busy of Mortars.
Yeah, what I find really interesting is that, the number of tricks they have, there's not a high density of them, but they're there. And so you have to play around them. There's one of this, there's two of that.
And Mono Blue Devotion's so brutally efficient that if you ever slip up and play around the wrong thing at the wrong time, or fail to play around something at the wrong time, that can just be the game.
Yeah, we've seen that so many times.
Because you get to spots like this from nowhere where, they're kind of doing nothing, and suddenly attacking for 10. And decks with that kind of capacity, if you trip up, you can just die.
Maybe some chump blocking to take place here. This is 3 mana. Yep. So we're going to get a Monstrosity activation to shoot down Judge's Familiar, which will turn off the Devotion on Thassa. I like that play. Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I like this a lot, too. You don't need to wipe his entire board.
Yeah.
You just can't take this kind of shot.
You're okay taking 5. And players will stare at each other for a minute here.
Yep. And that does pull Thassa out of combat as things stand.
Yeah. And now this can block the Frog Lizard. So maybe a touch of mismanagement here by Alec.
It's one of those things where, how is Richard not blocking with Pelucranos in front of your 3/3?
There's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, what's the trick that you're going to bust out?
Yeah. The best you can do is Polymorphous Jest. And it would become a 1/1 and have a counter on it, so it's a 2/2.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Jest. So what you'll see here is until end of turn, each creature target player controls loses all abilities and becomes a blue frog with base power and toughness 1/1. And I think the important thing there is base power 1/1. You see, he keeps pointing at it, but the counter's still there.
Well, yeah, it's target player controls. It doesn't affect Alex's side.
Oh, no, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's news.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's not asymmetrical.
But this is another spot. I'm sure Richard's happy to bleed out that trick here as opposed to
getting destroyed by it later.
Yeah.
Maybe in a racing situation where you think you're going to deal 9, you deal 2.
It's a cool card, though. I can see it being good in matchups like this.
That's a card I think that is great as like a 1 or 2 of in blue.
Yeah. I wouldn't want a bunch of them, of course. You can easily draw too much of that effect, but
just like all of blue's other tricks, they're all really good 1s or 2s.
So if there wasn't a Mortars before,
yeah, we'll
this
see.
seems like a good turn to Mortars,
This
too.
feels like a good turn to Mortars to me, too. If there was one in the grip.
He doesn't even have to overload it here. I don't think he cares that much about the Frog Lizard at 13. He just needs to keep Thassa off of Devotion. So it could just be as easy as killing the Night Veil Spectre.
He's got 2 mana tapped. I'm very unsure of himself on what he wants to do this turn.
I really like, you know, get rid of that Night Veil Spectre and hit for as much as possible. Put him in a spot where next turn it's, can you answer the Storm Breath? Probably not. And if not, then you're dead.
2-turn clock here.
Yeah, I mean, this is 8, knocks Alex down to 4, and then next turn is lethal.
There's almost no way to attack. There's no way to die in the swing back because you have 2 carry edits to block.
Yeah.
So even if the play was, you know, somehow turn on, like this is very perfect worldy of like turn on Thassa, attack with my Mutavaults, you know, somehow he creates all that mana. I mean, we're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 at best, and that situation isn't even, you know, readily present.
Yeah, 1 card in hand, doesn't even have 4 blue mana in play, so there's no way to generate 4 blue Devotion.
Yeah. So I'd be very, very surprised to see any of those things happen.
So Alex definitely on the ropes here. Because, I mean, if Richard is actually out, if he's completely out of relevant cards, then Tidebinder Mage may be able to crawl him back into this.
There's the possibility of that, yeah. There's a Temple. You saw there was no Mage that turn.
It looks like one of the cards in Alex's hand here, just an island.
An island and Thassa.
Richard has the Lethal Storm Breath, trying to figure out if he wants to add anything to his board before combat here.
Yeah, again, there's a range of cards he has to play around in this situation. It looks like he's activating the Monstrosity on the Dragon, which is a strange way because that actually opens you up to getting beat by one of the cards that he could have.
Yeah, to me, the easiest thing to do is just start the turn by attacking with Storm Breath Dragon and passing priority to your opponent.
Yeah.
And you can respond as appropriate.
If he bounces it or whatever, that's fine. You get to recast it, do your thing. But it's just going to be an extension of the hand. Richey's going to win this match over Alec May. 2 games to 1. It's not going to be all mono blue decks in our semifinals.
Yeah, we got one guy fighting the good fight here, Richey on Judd Monsters. He'll be moving on to the semifinals. He's got a lot of blue in front.